I have a fun story to kick off the podcast, entertain the people here. This morning I woke up. Last night I had a soccer game. So as I'm waking up this morning, boom, I get hit with a cramp in my calf. It's been so long since I had a cramp in my calf.
Are you drinking water?
Right, I'm waking up. Clearly not. Too much coffee, not enough water. All of a sudden, I'm like screaming. My girlfriend is like, what happened? I was like, cramp in my calf. And I'm like stretching there. And as it is getting better, I'm like, you know what? I need to go to the restroom. So I get up and I go into the restroom, and this is going to be maybe TMI, a little bit too much information for the listeners, but like
just skip like 30 seconds.
Early in the morning, I like to sit on the toilet, like rather than like being standing up, whatever, I sit on the toilet. So I go, and as I'm sitting on the toilet, I notice that the lid of the toilet is all the way up, right?
Oh no.
And I'm like already too committed on the squat, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to pull myself up, and there's this like slippery rug on the ground. So I slipped on the rug, and I literally hit the toilet with all my weight. My back just like smashed the toilet. Everything shook. Like there was so much noise, and I'm like, oh my God, I almost fell inside of the toilet. So I get up, I put the lid down, and I'm like, I'm okay. I'm just literally saying out loud to nobody. I'm like, I'm okay, in case I woke up somebody. And then, whatever, I go and do my business, and in my mind, I'm like, I hope I flush the toilet and this thing doesn't like explode and there's water everywhere. So I go ahead and like flush the toilet. Mission successful. Nothing wrong happened with the pipes. But then as I'm closing the lid just came up. I literally broke the toilet. Cramp, broke the toilet this morning. And honestly, my thought was, you know what?
They're going to kick you out of that house.
My mind just went to, the day can only get better from here. So let's go.
Is it better?
Let's crush this podcast. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
it's
so
better.
Lesson, don't let Fonzie use your bathroom. Okay, guys, today we're not talking about bathrooms. Today we're actually continuing with the episode by popular demand by me. We're actually, I did promise that we're going to dive into the 6 categories and assign tools to each of the highly profitable 6-stage production. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But anyways,
you need to sort out that name rather.
If you haven't tuned to the other episodes, we do have 6 stages of profitable content. So we're now attaching tools to each of those stages, and we're going to give our thoughts on some things that you can use, that your team can use, things that have helped us scale the content better, smarter.
That is right. So you can fast track your content creation flow.
That's right. We're matching. Look at it.
I know. I love it.
Cute.
We look so good. Now, that being said, before we dive into the episode, guys, make sure you go and check out the brand new website that my brother is building. BIZBROS.co. Looks nice. I appreciate you, bro. That was a great effort.
Nice and done. I know.
We've operated without a website actually for now like almost 5 years, but we decided finally to be like, you know what? Let's put out something in there.
If you want to know exactly how much money we've actually made without a website, just send me a DM. I'm happy to share that, because a lot of people think you do need a website from day one. You do not need a website from day one. Yes, it could help you as well. But again, capacity, resources.
We'll build a business. We pretty much went from freelancing to having a team and having clients without a website. I
know. We also have I love this, the 6-figure sales letter. And that's a funny story for a different thing. Okay, anyways.
Is it technically a 6-figure sales letter if people didn't actually click buy at the end of that sales letter?
I don't know, but it's just like, it's a very cool story. That was the only website that we had up when we actually crossed the first 6 figures.
I know. It was sad. It was sad. But, all the good things happen because of the podcast at the end of the day. So if you're interested in learning how to build your own collaborative-based platform, right, and systematize it so it can make a profit for you and your business, make sure you let us know, and we will talk and we'll share with you a little bit more about pipeline platforms.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna dive into the 6 categories. Each one of them, very quick, is we have the research, creation, production, distribution, monetization, and operations, right? So obviously we're in the frame of tools that can help you operate on that specific side. So Fonzie was actually like typing and he was typing and he was adding like 7 different tools for each one of them. And I was like, bro, what are you doing?
I was just adding options, facilitating the creation of the episode.
And he was like, okay, you know what? I freak out. So he just deleted the whole thing. So now we're going to go off the top of our heads with probably the tools that we've been playing or using the most right now. So maybe we can add a full list of a bunch of tools later down the road. Maybe that could be a really cool lead magnet. If you're interested, let us know and we can send it to you. But let's go. All right. So the first stage is research. What do you like to use for the research for your episode? And when I mean research is like, what are we talking about, right? So what are the things that you use?
Yeah. So here in Content is Profit, we have 2 different types of kind of like content episodes, right?
Yeah.
So we have the solo episodes and obviously we have our interview-based episodes. So I'm going to talk referring to the solo episodes, which I feel like they require a little bit more of gathering, of research. And my favorite tool, I mentioned this quite a few times. At the moment, it is Feedly, right? Feedly.com, Feedly.com. And what it does, it is a news aggregator. Pretty much you can tell it to follow Wired.com, right? Or TechCrunch.com. And it's going to pull the new articles that they release and you can go and check them every single day. Obviously, there are filters and very different ways that you can use this tool for your own benefit. So here on my kind of like dashboard on Feedly, I have news about the creator economy, right? News about entrepreneurship and business, marketing, podcasting news, right? Because I want to know as soon as they are releasing to the internet, I can go and be one of the first people to read about this and then share it, right? So that makes for really good topical content, right? Things that are trending at the moment that people might be interested in. Not so much the evergreen content, right? So again, this is kind of like leveraging that intention and search that people are looking at the moment. So for example, one of the things that I would add into Feedly potentially would be looking for articles on AI technology in the creator economy. And guess what? I'm probably gonna see a lot of those articles surface about tools that embrace AI that you can use to scale your content and make your content better. Also, I use a free version at the moment and it has worked wonders, but there is a paid version which I'm seriously considering because it has an AI included in it and is really, really cool because you can monitor specific companies and you can tell them to give you information based on consumer insights, market data, right? Revenue, trending topics, all these things. So literally you have kind of like the news in your face and you're going to be one of the first ones to know. And then obviously it's a matter of fact of taking action and creating something of your own with that information that you're getting. So as you can tell, I'm pretty hyped up about Feedly.
I know. I like it. As you're doing the description, I'm like, I need to set up my own Feedly. And again, like there's different things, obviously, where you have your guest. You have, if you are doing your solo episodes, obviously we talk about this for topical content, obviously research, citing these things, right? If you want to be in top of those waves of information, right?
Yep.
So for me, like I always go back to, am I creating the content intrinsically for me, right? Or like what serves me? What's the thing? And obviously we're experimenting with many tools, but currently the way I consume content, right, is through podcasting, a lot of podcasting. So either I'm walking the dog, I'm listening to a podcast, right? I am driving the kids to my in-laws. I'm listening to a podcast in the car. Luca actually goes like, Papa, where's the podcast? Mm-hmm. He loves our voices and he also loves My First Million for some reason. He's like, where's the black and blue? So shout out to, Sean and Sam.
Yeah, another podcast from the Hotspot Podcast Network.
That's right.
Shout out.
So what I try to do is like, how can I integrate my research or the things that I'm consuming so I can then have material for the content that we create, right? So one app that I really love is a podcasting app called Air, right? Is it Air? Hold on. Yes, yeah, Air. AIRR, right? So it's just like a podcasting feed. You can subscribe to different shows, but the thing that I love the most is that you can actually create these things called air quotes, right? So let's say you're listening to this podcast and there's a period in the show that there's a piece of information that you want to remember, that you want to maybe cite, that you want to maybe develop a little bit more in your content. You can click this quotes button, right? And it will clip for you 30 seconds or a minute of around that thing that you just listened. So now instead of having to make a note in your phone or, in a piece of paper, whatever, you can actually click one button and that is saved into what they're called air quotes. And then you can go back to that list and be like, revisit that piece of content and then create based off of that, right? So the way that I use it is that way. It's actually like if I listen to something that I can then bring onto the podcast or create a clip about it or talk about it, that's how I do it. That's the current way that I consume information. So I'm going to find a way to do that. So if you combine both of those, there's going to be a ton of information that you can do on your research that's, syncing with the way that you consume content today, right? If you want to learn more, obviously, about how I connect Air to a database software that we have, Project Manager, just let us know and we can dive into that. But that's like a 2-3 step app process. But
yeah, I like Air. Air is really
so good.
It's really good. I have so many golden nuggets in there that I should just go back and then. Pro tip right here, you can use those little nuggets to create clips as well, right? So for example, some of our podcasts, I go through Air, mark some clips of some segments, and then what I do is I jump on camera and I do like a little intro, a little hook. Hey, this guy just made X amount of money doing just this. Check this out. And then I put a screen recording of the clip with the subtitles that Instagram gives you naturally. And guess what? It does for a good clip. It actually performs pretty good. I want to add this about Feedly because obviously, cheers, Feedly.
We're going to have to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to have to split this episode in two.
Right, sounds good. We can split it. But Feedly here, free version. Now I mentioned the paid version. There's like a paid use, like it's called the Pro Plus, which you can use the AI and it's really good. But then for businesses, and this is really cool, if you go under enterprise, which it can get a little pricey for a small business, I'll say that. I think they quoted me at like $1,200, something like that, $1,500. But I think if you are, committed to be one of the sources of information in your industry, it's a must. You have access also to press releases, which is really cool because then you actually have access to information even before it hits some of the big media outlets, right? The same time that they are getting this information, you're getting as well. And you can pretty much the speed to market with which you are bringing this content to the audience, it can set you apart. So I think that is extremely cool. Maybe something that we can potentially, as we keep growing, be like, oh, sure, like let's jump into that. But for now, if you want to invest into the Pro Plus, is really, really cool because it gives you the market intel, funding events, it just has so much stuff. All right. We should do, Feedly, sponsor me.
Basically,
sponsor me right now.
Sponsor me. All right, on to the next stage, right? So after you have the information of what are you actually talking about, we move into the creation phase. Like, how do we actually create? How do we record the thing that then later is going to be produced by you or your team, right? So there's obviously tools that we use to kickstart that side of things.
Yeah.
So
you go first because I went first in the last one.
I go first?
Yeah, I'm throwing you under the bus.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I just want to see what you picked. So I picked something different.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record. But for me, the one that I've been using the most that have helped me, it has been Descript. I mean, 100%.
It's good. It's a good one. Cheers from the crowd.
And I'm going to do an example that is falling outside of the podcast side. Obviously, it's obvious, right, on the podcast side. But I think you're bringing some of that. So we ran an experiment maybe a couple of weeks ago, right? We were going through this workshop with an amazing entrepreneur and they have physical stores. And we're going through examples of minimal viable content, right? And this is the content that you can create consistently for a long period, for a long time. And then without a lot of like lift from you, right? So we're looking at these different formats, and some of the examples that we saw was like, hey, there's this fitness guy that all he does is, he sets his phone up and he goes to the phone and be like, hey, go to the gym, right? And it's like 300,000 videos like that. And it's the same concept, same phrase that he just like, he's creative with like the environment that he records on. So it's like, what is the one piece of content, one piece of information that you can do consistently over a long period of time? So with that said, I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to try that, right? For us, has been the podcast, but I want to try it in the clips level. So what I did is like, I put on, I opened Descript, I connected the camera, and I created right there one message like, hey, are you publishing? Are you an entrepreneur? And have you published yet? And that was the initial experiment that we ran for a week. So we just created it and recorded it and transcribed it all at the same time. And then it gives you a really cool base to kind of export that little video and publish it in every vertical platform, right? So for me, that has been a super... it has been an amazing tool just to get in there and create.
You know something else cool about this script? That moment where you were like, it'll find it and it'll cut it.
You'll find it and it'll cut it. Yeah, exactly. So it just sets you up, right? Like looking at the process, the next one is the production side.
Yeah.
But looking at that process, you're setting up the video already to skip 2, 3, 4 stages inside of the production process, so you can save a lot of time, right? I mean, just recently, we were reading about an article that people lose about 6 weeks of their year just by switching apps.
Tabs.
Well, tabs
on the
and apps.
Internet.
Yeah, it's crazy. 6
Bro,
weeks.
Have you seen how many tabs I got open?
I know you've lost many years of your life.
Actually, I'm gonna make it. Remind me at the end of the episode. I'm gonna make an honorable mention to an app that has really helped me.
Okay, but again, looking with that in mind, we're like, okay, well, how much time is your team losing? Like, so how can we implement these tools to make a very seamless process and make sure everything is super compact? So for me, this script is gonna win. I mean, I wish I came up with the idea of that software because they're freaking killing it.
Yeah, we would be ultra millionaires right now. But that being said, what is my tool for creation? I have a few, and okay. We need a kind of like a guide here. Are we just doing softwares, or are we also doing like physical tools?
I mean, you're gonna pick one.
All right, cool.
For the list, it can be both. Yes.
I mean, I'm just gonna mention it because we talked about it on the last episode. I think I'm going to stick to a software which most people have access to, but for the creation, the Rodecaster has been a game changer.
You said software and you just mentioned Rodecaster.
I know, it's like an honorable mention. So if you have 30, about $700 that you can invest into immediately increasing the production of your podcast, I would definitely recommend you looking into the Rodecaster. Now, that being said, what is my tool of choice? For us, it was all about removing the friction, right? Going live. How can we make it simple, but it still look good? And at that moment, it was StreamYard. StreamYard really helped us at the moment of kind of like setting up the production and putting it out into the world immediately. You can connect your social medias to it. You can go live. You can, have change of screens here and there. It allows you to have a guest come in and interview them remotely. We started the podcast, obviously, when, the whole world shut down. So we need a way to do interviews remote, and that was perfect. And honestly, it allows you to do interviews at scale, more volume. So, shout out here. If you're looking to build your pipeline platform, right, your systematized, collaborative-based platform, right, that is a pipeline platform, you can use something like StreamYard to have your guest on, and you can do more interviews faster, connect with more people, increase the value of your network, produce more content, and fill your pipeline with opportunities. So again, that one was a game changer for us because we started doing 3 interviews every single week. That meant 3 very good connections for our network that translated into clients. And honestly, sure, you can say, but we can jump in Zoom and record. But Zoom is just, it didn't work the same, kind of glitchy. The output that it gives you, it was kind of terrible. So that is why I'm going with StreamYard.
It allowed us to stream in multiple places, which was super value add for the guests that was coming. So and I think we were coming from a setup that was like Ecamm Live to the phone to a Skype call. It was so messy, remember? We actually had people on Skype creating accounts on Skype when we were doing this. But anyways, it was anyways, we can dive into that. I think that like each one of these deserves one episode, but we'll see. Maybe it's a course that we do, 6 stages and the tools, and that's something that we can release for the community. Okay, so last stage in this first half of the episode, where the next stage is actual production, right? So once you have your creation, how do you actually produce it? Like, what's the final outcome? And this is like from like raw video to like the thing that you want to put out to the world, right?
I feel like this one could be an episode on its own because I feel like there's levels to it. You know, kind of like
definitely
tier C production all the way to tier A production if you want to make a masterpiece. Like, you are going to use different softwares. But for the sake of today's conversation and time, we're going to keep it to the one-on-one.
Okay, now you go first.
I go first. All right, cool. Well, my favorite one, hands down, I started as a perfectionist. So I was like, let me learn the most difficult tool out there, or the tool that the best video editors use, right? And that was Adobe Creative Cloud, right? It can do anything. You have Premiere Pro, you have Adobe Audition, which is what we edit the audio, but again, you don't really need it. But that's what we use, because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna learn the best of the best. And I went on my obsessive. I have like these periods in my life where I obsess over things, and then I learn about it.
Right now it's fishing.
Right now it's fishing.
All your YouTube videos are fishing.
It's a lot of fun. So if you fish, let me know. I want to hear some tips from you. But that being said, is Adobe Creative Cloud, and especially Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro has been a game changer. I can really edit some really, really cool things. Personally, on our end, my challenge has been relaying that information, that information to the team, and obviously create great quality stuff from Premiere Pro. But at the same time, there are a lot of tools, and I'm sure you're gonna mention one of these right now, that helps facilitate that process. And even though you can potentially not create something as good as what you can create in Premiere Pro with all the effects, all these crazy things that like really enhance the post-production of a clip, you can still create something really, really good that can get the attention of people. And I will add this in here: quality of the message over quality of the production. We've said it over and over again. That's actually how we started with 45 Live. So do you really need Adobe Premiere Pro to have a big impact, to reach a big audience, to captivate people and get people's attention? The answer is no, right? It kind of hurts me a little bit to say that, but it is no. You don't need that software. But if you want to eventually, once you have your message, right, your capacity, your resources, and how consistent you want to be, and you want to add a little bit of flair, a little bit of post-production, and make your content look #juicy, you can use Premiere Pro. And if you don't want to learn any of this, you don't want to hire, you don't want to train, guess what? We can do this for you. All you gotta tell us is, hey, guys, how do I work with you? And you'll be a perfect fit for Content Momentum, in which we place a fractional content team inside of your business, right? So a video editor, graphic designers, a creative director that is gonna help you out, with all the content that you have to put out into the world. And then we'll be doing the hard work for you.
As simple
as that. Yo, I have some shameless plug. I'm on fire right now.
I know you're shameless plugging in every single category. If it's too much, guys, just let us know. But
I love it. This is what comes to my mind. All the gurus are like, keep it to one call to action. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do all 10 call to actions.
I mean, we just want to help people, and I think we're really good at what we do. So I mean, it is at the service not to let you know that we do that. Anyways, for me, production. First of all, I love to tinker. Second of all, I am not that good like FONZI is with the softwares. So part of my research and development had led me to tools that, with the processing mind. It's like, how do I save time in a lot of this? That's like my number one. And then how is it something that could serve the team in different ways? Like whether that's like, is it fast? Does it skip like 2 or 3 steps all at once, right? And I'm gonna sound again like a broken record. For me, the one that I've been using on post-production has been Descript, right? And again, so we talk about Descript on the creation side, where you can actually record directly to the software, and it gives you like the live transcription and everything else. But also on the post-production, you can set up how they call it, scenes, where it's like, okay, we have like a 2-camera scene, we have like just me or just FONZI scene. You can also do that on clips, and you can have that all loaded up ahead of time. So if you know what is the outcome that you want, if you're like, from like this one video, I want 5 clips to look this way, you can have that all set up ahead of time. So here's has been our battle between Fonzie and myself. It's like, okay, I don't want my content to look the same all the single time. Well, to me, create a ton of templates. Like every single week, just create a different way for that content to look, right? There's different, I see it personally like a puzzle, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's a very, very powerful tool for smaller teams, right? If you have an editor or if you have a virtual assistant in-house that could potentially, you can train them on how to set up the episode structure or how to set up the clip structure. Is a very easy tool to teach somebody to use. So for me, and it has a lot of the capacity that maybe big
I will refrain that. It has some differences that really help with production.
And again,
it has some capabilities to streamline in different ways. But I will say this, bigger tools with a bigger learning curve like Premiere Pro does allow for a little bit more of creativity output.
Absolutely. Okay. And then we go to the topic of like, okay, if we want frequency and consistency, like that's going to be for you to decide, like what's your cadence, right? At the end of the day, if you're going to go for higher volume and it depends on the resources that you have, do you have one editor, two editors, three editors? Do you have a VA, right? Based on those, then that's how you're able to choose the tool that you want to use, right? And obviously some of the content that gets produced at the very high level with other, I'm going to call them professional tools, right? Obviously the output is going to be amazing, right? Depends also on that person that's behind that software using it. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if you want something in between that can give you very consistent content that looks really good, right? I think that's where it comes in. And for me, that has been the things that with the people that we've been able to help, that people in our community, that's what they want. And some of them, they might not have the resources to hire a full-time editor, right? So this tool just allows for people to do that. For me personally, I like to tinker. I like to create. So, and I haven't had the time. I haven't put in the time like Fonzie did for a few years to learn these softwares. For me, this has been a super useful tool to get content out very quickly at a very high level.
Yeah. The other one, just go live. You don't really need I'm going to say, like, you don't really need a software. You can just go live and record it, or you can just use the camera on your phone. And then when you put it up on Instagram as a reel, you can add automatic captions in there and then just put it onto the wall. So that is the thing too. You never know which piece of content is going to blow up. Right. Yeah. And you can spend 10 hours working on one clip that for you looks absolutely amazing. And you post it and it's like doesn't do good at all. And you can have a piece of content that it took you 2 minutes to make between recording and then uploading and adding the automatic captions on Instagram. And that thing can blow up, right? Example, the meme that we just published not too long ago. Right?
I know, that was crazy.
We put like this simple meme and literally all of a sudden it was like 800 likes. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, where did that come from?
All right, so I think that marks the end of the first half of the episode. We did the first 3 categories. What are the next 3? We talk about distributing your content, monetization. How do you actually connect that content to whatever you're selling, right? And then how do you actually manage it all? So with that said, guys,
wait. I had an honorable mention.
No, it's time to end the episode.
I was gonna say I had an honorable mention, but I forgot what it was.
Okay, there we go. With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning to the Contents Profit Podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. If today's episode helped you scale your content faster, better, please don't forget to share this episode and give a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.